Well, it's we've never really been a podcast that is focused or, dropped all of our energy into one director.
But here we are.
But it kind of seems like it's becoming that. To be honest, when Carl and I started doing the split Unbreakable and Glass films, I didn't know there was a new M. Night. Well, I mean, there's always some sort of new M. Night film coming, but I didn't know. And didn't he just when was? Hang on, Knock. How old's Knock at the Cabin?
Oh, I'd say probably 2 to 3 years. I'd have to look it up.
2023.
Yes. Oh, so
last
a year.
year.
No, that's so nuts. It feels way longer, but it checks out.
Came out February, so he's like a year and a half between films.
Wow.
That's
that's like
clicking.
That's like Planet of the Apes level. Like they were just clicking them out year by year.
Yeah, but they were usually different directors.
Yes, yeah, that's
right.
True.
And so you've got one guy working away at one while the other guy's screwing up the first one, right? And it just it's just a machine of vomit that keeps. Yeah. So you have bats, you were saying.
Yeah, like baseball bats, and the mammals.
And the mammals. Yeah, You're growing them. You're breeding them. You're crossbreeding them.
The baseball bats, that is.
With the bats. You're breeding bats with bats.
It's a new breed of bats.
Yeah.
It's like Urukai.
Also, before I introduce who we are, so there was a story a little while back where it was like 2 years ago, I guess, where I went to out of the blue, not something I would normally do. Not if you were like, wow, where are the top 10 places that you're likely to find Brady on a Tuesday evening? This doesn't even come close to cracking the list. Okay. But I went to a baseball game. I went to a Toronto Jays game.
You did.
And I didn't tell you I was going.
Right.
But you were there.
Yep.
Which is creepy. No, but it just you go to a lot of Jays games.
Yeah, I watch a lot. I haven't been recently, but for the point of your story, I've been on occasion for sure.
Right. You have in the past had season tickets.
No.
Really?
No. Surprisingly, no.
Huh.
Just due to distance and
geographical limitations.
Yeah.
Anyways,
if I lived in Toronto, I probably would.
I'm going to another Jays game, I think.
What the heck?
Yeah. This month.
Dang.
Yeah, versus the Red Sox.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
Which, yeah, and that's my, we're not just going, again, we're not just going for the hell of it. There's someone who wants to take us out on an outing, and we were allowed to pick the outing. And we were and they used to be a really big sports fan, hasn't been to a baseball game in 15 years, laments about how she misses, having gone and doing all this stuff. And so then it just hit me. And I was like, well, why, let's make that the outing. Right? Let's just go to a Jays game. Yeah. And so then we were looking at the calendar and we're like, well, I don't know, when do we, because again, I don't really know anything about baseball.
Sure.
But so I was going down the list and I was like, well, who are they playing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there was one or two teams that I didn't recognize at all. I had no idea who they were.
Sure.
Then there was the Stingrays, but that's who I saw them play the last time. And so I was like, well, okay, whatever.
For the record, it's just the Rays, not Stingrays.
Oh, just the Rays. Well,
it used to be the Devil Rays, and then literally the year they dropped the name Devil out of the name, the year after they made it to the World Series. So make that of what you will.
Yeah, it's all rigged. But then I saw Red Sox, and I was like, well, shit, everybody knows
right.
At least that's a team that the only thing that would edge that out as someone who doesn't know baseball and doesn't know baseball teams, doesn't know whatever. The only thing that would be more famous than the Red Sox to a non-baseball fan would be the Yankees.
Right.
Right. To see the Jays play the Yanks, you're like, this is the game.
Yeah.
But anyways, hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movie Man podcast. I am Peter, and my baseball going more than I do co-host is Brady.
It's a trap.
Of note, we'll round back. There'll be a mention of the Blue Jays later in this episode. It's actually super eerie that you brought that up. I think there's a reason why, but we'll get to it later.
Are we talking about the Star Wars connection? Is that what you're...
No. But
I think
of note, have I mentioned this on the show before? The Red Sox, their stadium opened the same week that the Titanic sank.
Really?
It's an old stadium. It is one
It's
of
all
the
rigged.
classic. It's what?
It's all rigged. The whole thing. There is the Illuminati
Jeez.
and their connection to the all-American sport of baseball. Is baseball the American national sport? Or is that kind of one of those like where in Canada we think it's hockey, but it turns out it's lacrosse? Did you not know that?
I don't know why I find that funny. I don't know what by definition the quote unquote American sport is.
Right.
I just know like lucratively baseball makes a lot of money.
Sure.
But where baseball is going and getting your shins wet at the pool,
What? Who says that?
I don't know who says that. Going jumping in the deep end and getting your head wet is the NFL.
Uh-huh.
Like the NFL just is so lucratively, insanely stupid that I think it'd probably be American football is the American sport just by money alone. But,
Did you know that about Canada?
No. I didn't.
So our national sport, the official sport of Canada is lacrosse.
I mean, I guess.
I don't think I've never seen a lacrosse game in person.
No.
I don't even think I've ever been as a kid and an early teenager back when channel surfing was a thing, right?
Man, I missed
back when you would, then book a hotel because it still happens.
It's true.
Whenever you're in a hotel and
It's
you're just
alive and well there.
It just transports you through time and you're like, my God, there's nothing on. And then you get your laptop out and you load Netflix. But back in the day when I would channel surf, I would, not interested, not interested. Oops, sports, skip that. And I just didn't even, I was never going to stop channel surfing on a sports channel because I didn't care. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I've ever skipped watching lacrosse. What the heck? If you asked me, I'm pretty sure lacrosse is the one with the sticks, right? Mm-hmm. With the thing on the end of the pole.
Yep, it's like a stick lacrosse is a stick with a net on the end.
Right, but then I don't know how you score. Is there a net like a hockey net?
Yes.
It's
essentially it's essentially like hockey, but no ice. You run and you can run around with the ball in your net and you pass it to each other and you shoot it.
Go Canada. Okay. So
what are we here to talk about?
But I did the Star Wars connection. So here's the thing. Look, we've been joking back and forth a little bit. You sent me a GIF earlier in the week that was it's a trap because we're watching.
Yeah, it's a trap.
And this is a little bit of a leap in as far as segues go, but James Earl Jones passed away today.
Yeah.
And 93. And so that's, it's not a tragic death. It's not one of those, oh my God, so young. He had a great life. Great long run. Super iconic, beloved by, I'm going to say everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
You might not be an active James Earl Jones fan, but saying, I really don't care for James Earl. That's a one-way ticket to a broken nose. I just don't know. I just don't know anyone who didn't like James Earl Jones. So super sad. I'm not gonna go through his IMDb or anything like that, but we have a history on the show of we did this when Matthew Perry died. We talked about it. We've talked about it when some really big iconic actors have left us. And so it's sad. It's sad that we Yeah, that we'll never hear. I mean, we've still got all the movies that he did,
Of course. Yeah.
but we'll never get any new material that is that booming, velvety, just like it's one of those things about the universe, right? Like that guy ends up with that voice, and to think that had like one or two decisions been made differently, that guy could have been a barista, right? or some bullshit, there would have been conversations where people would have been like, dude, you have to hear my dentist. Like,
It's true.
like he's just got the, like, he could be, he could have replaced Sean Connery as Darth Vader, this guy. Like, this guy is just incredible. But yeah, so very, very sad.
It is. Yeah.
But yes, it's a trap.
It's a trap
episode.
It's a trap episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
trap
delayed.
music.
It's not like a new release, but it's just a couple weeks ago that it was released in theaters, and even more recently for home streaming. So it's still a new-ish release. And yeah, like I can't give you a practical example, but I feel like this podcast does go through phases just with coincidental like votes or things that come up, where it does seem like there's a pattern of like we'll do a certain actor and it just seems like we do a lot, or a certain director. And maybe I'm just like, maybe that's not actually true. It just feels like it's true, but it's definitely the case right now with M. Night Shyamalan, where it feels like just with the coincidental series you and Carl have going on and this new release that it's like the M. Night Shyamalan men.
Yeah.
But
well, and you know what? Trap is, it's still like, you talk about, it's, blah, 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 and it's out on streaming now. And so it's not like super, super, I'm right now just to see how feasible it was, or like, to validate. I can click the get tickets button on Cineplex, AMC theaters. Yep. I think the local drive-in's playing it right now. So it is. It's still
true. Yeah.
It's still happening on limited screens.
Yeah.
But it's I would say we're doing an episode of a movie that's still in the theaters. And as we dropped on our Facebook this evening, this is a content week drop. And 2 new releases. So we're dropping, you're listening to the Trap episode. Beetlejuice is coming out in a couple of days. Our episode on that. And then just the regular, I made Carl watch the final Conjuring film. So.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of content this week.
Lots of content.
There's just a little shameless plug. Well.
No, it's not shameless at all.
No, I felt shame. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was shameful. Okay.
All right. Well, should we get into it?
Yes. Initial impressions?
Yeah.
So, I want to say before, I want to preface this whole episode, the whole review segment of this episode, by saying that regardless of any demerits we may give this film, regardless of any pros, cons, whatever, the thing that stood out for me very early on in the watching experience, what a novel concept. And we'll break that down more. We'll get into that. But it's just a unique, there are movies where we watch someone who's on the run, things like The Fugitive come to mind.
Right.
But rarely do we spend so much of a film in the perspective of the villain, and a villain who's actively, the hounds are closing in type of thing. And I think there's some interesting implications of that, and some side effects of that, intentional or non-intentional, and we'll get into that. All in all, though, I will say I had a lot of fun watching this. I had a lot of fun.
Okay.
I think it's got some issues. some of the issues that I think it has with it, I'm not sure aren't intentional. So we can kind of unpack that as well. But I had fun. Like the whole time I'm like, I'm enjoying this. I'm curious to see what is going to happen next. It took me on a ride. And it, you know, in that sense, I think the film did for me everything that it set out to do. I'm not saying it's an amazing movie. I'm not even necessarily saying I would recommend it to anyone. You know, maybe if it was like we had some people over, a little dinner party and a movie, and someone had said, you know, oh, I haven't, you know, yeah, did you guys ever see that trap movie? I would be like, oh, yeah, let's watch that. Like if you're if that was one you're interested in, I would be interested in seeing you experience it. But I'm not, you know, I'm not going to make a Facebook post on my personal page being like, good Lord, everybody. Guess what you're missing out on, you know? So, but I liked it. I had fun. Well, did I like it? I liked the experience of watching it, is what I will say.
Okay. Yeah, so I think this is a convergence for me, from my initial impression of I am enjoying, or I did enjoy a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies, really some of the old G ones. You know, The Signs, the Village, kind of in that era. But this movie was a mixture of that, and then my convergence of like my absolute distaste for watching something that basically was the subject matter of this, like someone who's a psychopath, who's violent, who's a torturer, like that aspect of me is just like uncomfortable city, and I don't enjoy it. So it's a weird converging of things. And so, well, like you said,
it hits home for you, and you know.
It's a very weird and unique premise, and kind of you hit on that too. And I think for a movie that the trailer reveals the entire premise, which is unusual, because I feel like for M. Night Shyamalan, you could have seen a universe or a scenario where he makes this movie and you realize there's a trap and you don't know who it is, and then when you know there's a twist at the end and it could have been the dad, and you go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was him. For a movie that the premise,
spoilers, by the way,
spoilers, for a movie that the entire premise is revealed in the trailer, for me, I was thinking, okay, I'm intrigued, but let's see where the storytelling takes us, the character development. Like, that's going to be the weight of this film. It's not going to be the shock value, clearly. Right. And so if this movie was good, it's going to be less about visuals, color palette, you know, kind of just like a little bit different than, say, some of his earlier stuff like Signs or The Village. If this movie is good, it's going to be about the achievements of maintaining tension, making, you know, raising the stakes and whatnot. So I'd agree. It's original. I found it entertaining. I feel like M. Night strikes again. I do feel it's not without its flaws. So I feel like there's, sure. We'll have to break that down a little bit. But I would just say in a nutshell, it's a super fun, captivating popcorn flick. And the thing I'll end this off on is it is interesting that you mentioned some of the stuff you mentioned earlier on. This film, actually, for the trivia buffs at home, marks a unique Movie Men piece of trivia. The Movie Men actually had exclusive access to the set prior to filming.
Both sets. Well, I mean, go on.
Well, just that if you're creeping the Movie Men Instagram photo, we were at Rogers Center.
That was where the Jays game was.
That's where the Jays game was, and that's where the exteriors to this were filmed, and then obviously the interiors were filmed in Hamilton, which is a huge, lovely wink when they say, "What's the password? What's the code?" And
Hamilton.
They say Hamilton. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so that's interesting. So let's can we start with that?
Of
course.
Can we
talk about Rogers Center for that for sure. I was also there a month ago for a Green Day concert, right? So like I have recently been there. And so it was funny because there was the exterior shot, and you know, as they're approaching the stadium, and I thought to myself, because obviously they've digitally removed the CN Tower or anything that, you know. Yeah. They've removed parts of the Toronto skyline so that it feels like it's supposed to be
I think Philly. Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, huh. And I didn't immediately go, oh shit, it's the Rogers Center, or as I like to still refer to it, the Sky Dome.
Right.
But I was like, it's very similar. And my initial thought was, whatever stadium this is, I feel like copied the architecture of the Rogers Center, like looked to Toronto for engineering inspiration. and then you know what tipped it off? You know what like drove home for me that I was like, oh no, wait, this is the Rogers Center, was the big gate signs.
Oh yeah, that's
right,
exactly
like gate
it.
7 or whatever it was, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just a month ago circumnavigated the outside of this building looking for our gate, and that's what the signs looked like. So then we paused the movie and I looked it up real quick, and so not only are all the exterior shots at the Rogers Center, but the interior shots are, stupid ass name, in a stadium that has had its name changed to First Ontario Center or something like that.
Oh,
Cops Coliseum.
That's what I remember it is.
Yeah, it was called Cops Coliseum, and I've been in there 4 times as many times as I've been in the Rogers Center.
Okay.
Right. Like I've been in Cops Coliseum for, I want to say like 10 times, maybe.
Oh, dang.
I've been in there for events. Right. And like longer event, like sometimes like 2-day events, like conferences and stuff like that. And so like, I know I knew the staircase, right? Like I could recognize, I was like, yeah, this is, and it was just a fun thing. And I remember thinking, you know, we're having a moment right now that is pretty unique to non-American citizens. Right? Because if you live in New York City, a lot of the films that you go and see, you can pick out places that you know. If you live in LA, if you live in, you know, Florida, if you live in any of the places where they tend to shoot a lot. They don't shoot a lot in Toronto. I mean, they do. We a lot of films come up and shoot here.
But I'm almost thinking the counter argument, because I agree that like if it's something that's set in like New York, yes, where they'll film it actually in New York, I would agree completely. But there's a lot of those generic, hey, this is set in like an American city, quote unquote settings, that a lot of the time it's like filmed in Vancouver, filmed in Montreal or something. So
yeah, they'll shoot there for sure a lot. Like I'm thinking like Suicide Squad was shot in Toronto.
Yeah, that's one for sure.
Most of Schitt's Creek was shot just outside of, and also on a soundstage in Toronto. Like we do. Yeah. We have a lot of, you know, well, I'm just curious. Movies shot in Toronto. Police Academy. I went to I went to a college where the exterior of it was where they shot. It was the Police Academy.
Right.
But yeah, stuff
Suits,
like,
I think this for some reason Suits sits out to me. I feel like that was filmed in Toronto.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, point
Christian Bale in American Psycho was shot there.
Nice.
This is a much bigger list with a bunch of smaller things on it that I wasn't expecting to. But, like, there's a lot of stuff shot up. But often when that's the case, you don't, like, you know, they'll have shot in some suburb of Toronto, or they'll have shot in some place where you can't look at it and go, this is recognizable.
Yeah.
For us. Anyways, for people up here.
No.
Right? So it was crazy for me to see him running around the inside of the stadium trying to escape, and me thinking, I know, like I've walked up those steps numerous times. And that's just like a Canadian fanboying about a movie.
Oh,
but
yeah, it's fun.
So I thought
that
was fun. So yeah.
Um.
Trap.
So I feel we should start on the acting because a lot has been made out of this.
Okay.
And I will say this is kind of just a bit of a minor point, but M. Night Shyamalan, I feel like this might be one of my favorite cameos of his. I know
it's a big cameo.
I think so. Like, I'm thinking of all those other ones. They're usually like you blink and you miss it. Not blink and you miss it, but like shorter or more dialogue heavy. But like, you know, it's not the camera's not directly facing him. It's facing someone else while he's talking to someone. Like, it's this one. He was front and center a lot. Had a lot of dialogue. Was in and out a lot. I feel like he was like his most himself. Like when I'm thinking of Signs or The Village or some of the other ones. He has a bit of a, you know, he's just kind of like a board, and you know, he's just a little
doing
bit
a voice, or he's
doing a bit.
acting.
He's doing a bit. Yeah, I think that's a good way. He's in a different character. But this one, I feel like M. Night was just being M. Night, and yes, we can talk about him as a director, but I feel like this cameo was one of his best standouts for me, and it made me realize that like of all the directors, yeah. I think just some are weird, some are eccentric, some are odd. I think M. Night is the one who I'd be like, let's go grab a beer. Yeah, we'll talk about film for 10 minutes, and then the other, like 90% of the time, let's just chat about life. Like, he just seems like a chill dude.
Yeah. Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in Toronto?
Yes.
Have you ever been to the Distillery District?
I can't say I have. I'd have
to. It's maybe like a 15-minute walk from like Union Station, and it's like these old like 150, 200-year-old factory buildings, but it's this like distillery. Like, no?
Not particular. I can't say I really have.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I was looking up the top 12 films shot in Toronto.
Okay.
The Shape of Water. Total Recall, the remake.
Okay.
Hairspray. The RoboCop remake.
I'm not that impressed by this list.
The Edward Norton Incredible Hulk. Resident Evil Afterlife.
This doesn't. I'm the wrong guy for this list.
Good Will Hunting.
Okay, you got my attention. That's interesting.
Chicago.
Not my movie, but a big hit. Yeah.
Pacific Rim.
Meh.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Interesting.
Suicide Squad.
I did know that.
And the reason I brought up the Distillery District is because the 2000 film, Bryan Singer film, X-Men, they used the Distillery District with, you know, some added fencing and whatever else and some heavy color grading to make 1940s Poland when you get the flashback of young Magneto like ripping the fence, and they've got all the Nazis and yeah. And so I'm looking at like a side-by-side picture of like the scene versus where that actual shot is, and I'm like, I've been there.
That's nuts.
And I kind of wish I'd known when I was there. You know, anyways, doesn't matter.
Of note, not in the Distillery District, but the 1980s movie Cocktail starring Tom Cruise was portions of it were filmed in Toronto, but not in the Distillery District at Casa Loma.
So we have the Movie Men Bingo, which is something that Marshall put together for us. Marshall has been on the show a number of times.
Yeah.
And the Movie Men Bingo, there's a link for it in the bottom of all of our episodes. We don't plug it enough. And it's something that you can take and play along and I'm wondering, is there on here
Tom Cruise
that Pete brings up Tom Cruise?
I feel like in this genesis of the bingo, Leonardo DiCaprio was on there, like that was a square. And I feel like as I've grown and as the podcast has grown, I feel like I talk about Leo less and I talk about Tom Cruise more. Just of note.
When's the last time you looked at this? Sorry, this is the end of my tangent, but when's the last time you looked at this?
Not recently enough, I must admit.
Because it's amazing. Can I just rifle these off real quick?
Yeah.
So the Lord of the Rings gets brought up somehow.
Of course.
Pete says, sure or fair enough.
I've done that like 16 times in this episode already.
Brady says literally, but means figuratively.
Pete laughs surprisingly hard at Brady.
I'm sure that's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Lost in translation gets brought up.
Yeah.
A celebrity referred to as a friend. We do that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Pete doesn't go along with the Brady bit.
Oh,
which happens less. That used to be a real, like, I feel like this could use a little bit of updating for the modern, and maybe there needs to be a Carl version as well, like a B team.
Now this one bothers me. I've grown to hate this one. A film other than the episode is spoiled. I've come to be, I want to respect the game, and I don't want to spoil movies.
Yeah. Pete clarifies the movie men's moral standing.
Yeah, so like anytime you make a joke about us doing meth or cocaine, I'm like, but actually we don't.
But actually we don't. No. Brady self-deprecates the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo DiCaprio is brought up.
So that's the one. I feel like Tom Cruise. It should be like a free space of like either Leo or Tom is mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. A musical is mentioned.
Chicago.
Titanic.
And yep.
Sean Connery, which I've brought up.
Oh, you did.
John Williams.
Not yet today. That's interesting.
Lamenting an uncoordinated intro. Brady self-identifies as a completionist.
It's been a hot second since we've had that.
Pete recoils at a Brady joke.
Yeah, that happens.
Back to the Future, Star Wars, Tim Burton. Yeah, Pete laughs surprisingly hard at Brady, a film other than the episode is spoiled. Brady does an impression. Brady does a swear. Joaquin Phoenix and Pete modifies a swear for radio. We got to reach out to Marshall. Marshall, if you're listening to this episode, we need... I
actually just want to thank Marshall. I feel like that's just... He's hit this podcast to a T, and I think it's witty and hilarious.
For sure. And this was the definition of going above and beyond. Nobody asked him to do this. It was just, it was just something he surprised us with.
It did.
So, yeah.
But back to the acting.
So the acting, just so you know, is one of the things that I was referring to in my initial impression when I said some of the things that I have an issue with, I don't know whether or not they are intentional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Well, what's you know what a great bingo box would be? The movie men talk about a film where they don't actually know the names of the characters in the film. Josh Hartnett. Who does he play? Who's the main?
Cooper,
right. Anytime Cooper is interacting with, like, I think everyone does a great job of acting in this, except there's some weird moments where Cooper is like interacting with the merch guy. And he's just got this like anyone looking, he's got such a smile and this creepy kind of thing. And anyone interacting with him would go, dude, what's going on with your face? And there was a moment where I thought that this was an intentional decision and that that it was going to be revealed to us, or that what this was sort of getting at is that Cooper is a sociopath, that Cooper is incapable of feeling emotion. And so in an attempt to emulate emotions like happiness or friendliness or, you know, like whatever it is, these basic human interactions to which he has no reference point for, that he overdoes it. And it comes across as phony because he's trying to be jovial and it's all an act. but then that's sort of undone by the fact that, like, at the end of the film, when he's having a discussion with his wife, he talks about like how angry he is, and like so he feels emotion. He's not numb. And so then that leads me back to not really fully understanding that choice, just aside from the face that he makes with the close-up camera shot is creepy and sort of unsettling for the audience. But at times it comes across, I think, as goofy rather than
menacing or
sinister. Yeah.
I think for the most part, like, yeah, I guess if I broke it down, maybe there's some inconsistencies there. But I without getting into like the actual what makes sense, you know, when you break down a sociopath and all that kind of stuff, it made sense to me of like his awkwardness, his forced smiles and things. But like I don't really understand enough about a sociopath. Like, it seemed like at the end he was having some anger, but even though he claims that, like, it's not a true pound for pound, he's upset. Like, he's just like computing and you know, there's a disconnect there. So in my mind, it wasn't a problem. Maybe if I, you know, like you're saying, you break it down more, maybe it's inconsistent with the reality of a sociopath, but it worked for me. And I would agree. I think it was probably a lot of these decisions were done on purpose. And I enjoyed Josh. I think he was great. Kind of a weird role in some ways. But I enjoyed him, and I really enjoyed this dynamic of like the father, but also the anti-father in some ways,
right,
as he turned out to be in the end. So I thought he just rocked it out of the park. He's one of those actors that I kind of just don't even really have a pulse on.
Oh, he was in Oppenheimer.
Yes. Oh, that's true. He was.
Like, watching him in this. Oh, and he's in. No. I don't know. Okay. He's in Sin City.
See, I remember him from his glory days of, like, say, Pearl Harbor. And wasn't he in, like, one of those One Tree Hills or, like, one of those?
I don't know. I didn't recognize. I was watching this film and I was like, I don't know that I know this guy at all.
I know him from, like, 20 years ago.
I've seen Pearl Harbor, but probably 20 years ago. And so if you ask me who's in, Ben Affleck's in Pearl Harbor. Yeah. See, I have no idea. And Kate Beckinsale and Cuba Gooding Jr. I had no idea.
Yeah. Josh Hartnett and Ben Affleck were the two main dudes in Pearl Harbor. And I'm seeing now, like Black Hawk Down, 2001. So I remember him being a big deal 20 years ago. And so I think it's neat that he's just like resurfacing in a pretty substantial way. Like, in these back-to-back films are solid films, but solid roles that he's played. So I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy him in this.
Yeah.
An underwhelming character, and it's not so much on the acting, it's just more the way the character's written. That female profiler that led the FBI, I just felt like that was a bit of a hollow role. Like, I thought there was going to be something more there, that you would get more of an antagonistic kind of cat and mouse between the two of them. And she just never really was fleshed out much. She was just more a talking head who said, okay, this is what we're doing, a talking head at the end, just to kind of explain things, give some exposition. But she was not, I was just expecting her to be more of a developed character, and she clearly wasn't.
I felt like I really liked her character.
Okay.
I liked the idea that the FBI profiler, like the person that was commanding all of this team, was this elderly woman. And so I liked that, and I kind of felt like, and maybe this was just me not being critical enough of it. But watching it, I was like, this is everything I need to know about this lady. I can extrapolate just from who she is, from what I'm seeing, right? That she has probably been with the FBI for the last 50 years. That she, probably started as a paper pusher or getting someone coffee, and she's worked her whole way up. She obviously doesn't have a husband or children. She's never been married. She's never had a family, because this is like she will die on the job, and she eats, sleeps, drinks, and breathes this, right? That she is defined by her particular set of skills.
Skills that make her a nightmare for
someone like
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah. I was going to say someone like you, but maybe that was a little too personal of an attack. Well, so yeah, no, I don't know. I really liked her character. So that's interesting. Yeah, that we took different. We came at that character from different angles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Neither a problem or a compliment was just watching Salika Night Shyamalan in her role.
So how do you feel about that? Because it's her first movie.
Yeah.
It's her first acting credit. Mm-hmm. I guess she's a hip hop artist.
I wonder that too. I think it's I think this is like the breakout. I don't know if she's like someone I should have known about before this.
I don't think she's like I don't think she's getting radio play. No. But if I look her up, she goes by the what do they call it? A mononym?
Pseudonym? No.
No, but did you know, because it's a singular. She's known mononymously as Salika, right? You don't need the. Right. It's like Zendaya or Beyonce, sure, or whatever. Probably because I would have guessed prior to now that she didn't want to be tied to her hit and miss of a director father, but then she was in one of his films, so I don't know. She has singles dating back to 2020.
Oh, really? Interesting.
She's got a number of music videos. I'm not seeing... Oh, there's one record. She released a record last May. So, yeah, I mean, a struggling... I don't know if struggling's the right word. She's not a breakout artist. She's not...
No.
But, so my question for you is, like, in terms of her being in this film... and maybe this was not the intention at all, but it reeks a little bit to me of daddy giving his daughter a role that is very similar to the actual career that she's pursuing in an attempt to bring awareness to her otherwise nobody musical daughter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I just don't know where I sit on this, because I think just the reality of the world is, and there's situations where it's abused or situations where it's fine that children have talent, and it's just their parents give them opportunities that others would have, and it's just one of those things where, is it fair? Sometimes it's not fair, sometimes it is, and it's just in a world where you have to have an opportunity. Sometimes that is the opportunity. So they have the talent. It's just that's how they're seen. I don't know how I feel about this in this case, because I didn't dislike her singing. I didn't dislike her acting, so I don't think I have a problem with it. I do think it's interesting and coincidental that there was this exact situation almost 10 years ago in the film After Earth that was directed by M. Night Shyamalan that had Will Smith and his child in it.
Right, but it goes like Will Smith and Jaden working together go back further than that.
No, not Jada?
Oh, Jada.
No, I'm not talking about Jada. I'm talking about his son.
Yeah, Jaden Smith. Not Jada. Smith? Yeah, his son, Jaden.
I think. Is that who? What's? I'm drawing a little blank here because I'm looking at which one is his son. I'm looking at the cast list of that movie.
So Jaden Smith is in After Earth, but is he not?
Isn't it? I think it's Caleb Pinkett Who's Caleb Pinkett? Hold on.
Another one of their kids? Maybe?
I don't know. Okay, I got to open up the cast
Caleb
list here.
Pinkett?
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about.
Caleb Pinkett.
Oh no! Okay, I'm looking. Okay, I need to open up the IMDb because
Caleb
on the wiki,
Pinkett is
I'm
the
noticing
brother
Jaden.
of Jada Pinkett Smith. So Caleb Pinkett would be Will Smith's brother-in-law.
So it is Jaden Smith.
Yeah. So Jaden Smith.
Sorry.
Is in the what year did After Earth come out? 2013.
Yeah.
But he's also in like. He at that point he's been in 3 other films. One is The Karate Kid, which obviously Will Smith is not in. One is The Day the Earth Stood Still, which I don't. That's a Keanu Reeves film.
Yeah.
But his first acting credit is in 2006. So 7 years prior in The Pursuit of Happiness, which is a Will Smith film.
Right.
So that's when that happened.
So actually, I see what you're saying. So yeah, I think that's maybe more of a better comparison where it's someone's initial breakout or an initial opportunity.
Yeah.
I just think it's coincidental that there was the father-son duo in another M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Right. And I mean, you know, it's so then likewise you could go, you know, would Miley Cyrus, would anyone have ever known who Miley Cyrus was without Billy Ray? Right. Maybe, but I would wager probably not. Right. People like Mayan Lopez is the daughter of George Lopez. Right. So Colin Hanks, would Colin Hanks have had
Yes, exactly.
Kate Hudson and Kurt Russell and now Wyatt Russell, right? Like it's just one of those it's just one of those things, right? Where people get Lily Rose Depp is another example. Domhnall Gleeson is the son of famous actor Brendan Gleeson.
Right.
Eugene Levy and Dan Levy.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and it's amazing. Like, we love seeing that as an audience. We love seeing parents and children work together. Oh God, the Sheen family, Martin Sheen, Charlie Sheen, and Carlos Estevez. Right. And so, but yeah, I don't, it to me, this one just felt different. And I think this one felt different because of the similarity of Lady Raven to who Salika wishes she was. Right? And so it just kind of like, instead of being like, hey, honey, you're wanting to be an actress, so I'm going to put you in this film. I wonder if this was more like, hey, honey, I'm going to put you in the film as a pop star, and then people will watch this and see your potential as a musician. Throwing around the M. Night Shyamalan name to draw awareness to an entirely separate career, right? This isn't, I'm going to give you your start in film. This is, I'm going to advertise your music career for you, which to me just feels a little sleazier. But again, I don't know that that's, maybe she does want to be an actor.
Yeah.
I don't
know. Anyone else from the acting cast list that you'd want to discuss?
I don't think so. Like, no, those are the really interesting ones.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was bad in this. Like, I liked Ariel Donahue, who plays the daughter.
Sure.
You know, she was fine. Yeah, nobody did a bad job, I don't think. There were no standout bad performances.
Right. Yeah. I guess related to the acting, but kind of getting into the nuts and the bolts of the movie. I did think it was fun how they had some foreshadowing with Josh's character. You know, at the beginning, he talks about not speeding and doing the right thing, and don't let people fool you when there's the scalpers coming for tickets. And even just, I guess it's kind of late in the game for foreshadowing, but even at the end when they talked about Cooper coming home with gifts, and he's great at always remembering great gifts to give, and all these things that kind of come out in the end being like, interestingly, like, they're very contrary to what's actually going on. But I found, just in a nutshell, I found the first 2/3 of the movie really enjoyable, where it was just a movie about bumping up the stakes. You know, it was just this crazy play-by-play of Josh, and, you know, it's one thing after the other. And then, you know, just things happen where the stakes get raised. You know, he pushes his chips in the middle of the table and goes to Salika and says, I'm him. This is what I'm doing. Let's move it up. And then Salika is like, yeah, whatever, fool. I'm going to play checkers with you. And she has a ballsy move of her own. And then they say they're going to go to their house now. And then I feel like it just took a bit of a left turn for me, where the tension got a little hokey once for me, the air kind of left the balloon at that point, where they were stealing the phones, and then they were kind of doing the whole limo bit. And I just feel like then at times there was just some kind of dialogue and writing that was a little bit more hokey for me. And so the last third of the movie was a different tone. It was more like creepier, with a psychopath kind of going into his mind, but also just the tone and the stakes in the last third of the movie were, it just slowed down for me. What are your thoughts on that? Like, did you have a similar experience? Were you completely, like, what was your viewing experience of like the nuts and the bolts of it?
So, and this is interesting because the film has a transition in it. So as I mentioned, this is a unique concept in the sense that we are watching. We are, for the first half, 2/3, whatever, first half, we are in the eyes. We are Cooper as the audience. We are following him, and that's really fascinating and interesting, and causes a lot of tension, because this guy is scum. We don't fully understand the extent to which he is scum quite yet. But we know he's a bad guy and that he needs to be caught. However, because we are, and I think this is genius, this is hats off to this film for doing this, because he is the one that we're following, we get nervous when it seems like he's going to get caught, right? Like when he finds an out, it's simultaneously a bit of a tension release, but also you're still aware, well, but that's not good either, right? And so that's really fascinating, that you kind of almost subconsciously end up for a chunk of this film rooting for the serial killer, right? Because
you're raising an interesting point, because I'm wondering if, for me, and if what you're describing, this is just a thought. I'm not sure if this actually is what the situation is, but I'm wondering if, for me, if there were more stakes in the movie when we were worried about the psychopath getting caught than I was at the end.
Oh, I think there was entirely.
When this pop star could have been killed. Like, and I think you're right. Like, that's a real interesting testament to the movie of what they were able to make us feel and not feel.
But as a result, there's this transition, right? There is a moment where, as soon as they get in her limo, we go from him being the bad guy, but also the hero of the movie, right? The main character, the guy that we're following and watching, to there being a shift where, okay, now, no, he is just the antagonist, and we're now following Lady Raven. And so, and they both, it's a different type of tension. So there is a shift, there is a change. I don't know for me necessarily if one of those tensions was more potent than the other. I would say that the initial tension is more unique. And so maybe there's something to that. Maybe it feels more potent because it's a tension that doesn't just make us feel threatened and scared of what this guy is going to do, but it's a tension that makes us feel morally conflicted over and over, where we don't want this guy to get caught because we're watching the movie through his eyes, but at the same time, this guy needs to get caught, and he's horrible, and you want him to get caught, but like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, there's for the first half of the film, the FBI are the antagonists. They are the roadblocks. They are the ones that we're trying to get away from. And then as soon as they're in the limo, the moment he reveals himself as the killer to Lady Raven, it switches. And he's the antagonist, and Lady Raven and the police are the ones that we're working with now. So I think that's really, it's really interesting. And one of the things that I dare say I love about this film. Having said that, I think there are some things that are done by Lady Raven's character to create tension for the sake of creating tension, and I don't know that I buy them. Lady Raven's actions end up saving Spencer.
Sure.
I don't know how much I buy that.
Yeah.
The odds that, like, even with her influence, even if Taylor Swift were in that situation and hopped on live, like, we're talking in the matter of 120 seconds, this gets resolved.
Seemed a bit too neat.
Even if you were able to pinpoint the house, which is, you have to suspend a bunch of disbelief just to get to that point. But let's put that aside. Even if you were.
Yeah.
What are the odds that that fan is then going to, and not by themselves, because this, presumably the fan is a 14-year-old girl.
Right.
And so she's not going across the street by herself and untying and releasing this hostage. The parents are going to... So this fan has convinced her parents to go across the road, break into this house, go down into the basement, and rescue this guy, all in the course of 2 or 3 minutes. Now, that seems unlikely. And, because of the way things play out, you have to come to the conclusion that Lady Raven made the right call because it paid off. However, there were so many times up until Spencer getting saved where I didn't understand why she wasn't calling the cops. Because yes, Cooper threatens and says, if you call the cops, if the cops get involved, blah, 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 I will kill him. And my thought is, as opposed to what? Your plan is otherwise to release him in a couple of days? Like, he is going to die either way. Right? Cooper's just playing with his food right now.
Right.
Essentially. Right? Cooper has no other plan other than to kill this guy. And he's just waiting. I don't know for what he had time to kidnap the guy, but hasn't had time to cut him up or whatever the reason why that guy's locked up in the basement. But I'm like, this guy is dead either way. So save yourself and and notify and take an action that will get this guy caught. Now, even once she's smart enough to text the driver to call the police.
Yeah, she waits a while for it to happen, but eventually, yeah, she makes it
And that
happen.
all pans out. But that's the other thing too, is she waits a while.
She does.
Right? Like, because I'm thinking, look, the way cell phones and GPSs and pinpoints and whatever, the second she got in that bathroom or walked, she should have dialed 911. And even if she couldn't communicate with anyone, just leave the phone in your pocket.
Right.
Right? Or do whatever, because they're going to come. Right? They're going to use the GPS on the phone and they're going to come find you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean when I say, like, I feel like, yeah, the bathroom scene's intense because he's banging on the door and the family's freaking out. And then you hear some noise and you don't know, like, at first you have to assume, holy shit, he just killed his family. Like, the guy's off the deep end now. Now we find out he didn't. He just locked them upstairs in a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the bathroom scene was there for the sake of tension, and it was tense, but there's a couple of weird leaps that are necessary to take in order to make that scene work, and I don't know if it ends up working entirely. You have to suspend a bunch of disbelief in order for it to work.
Yep. And I think I have an issue with some of the dialogue at times, and I think that's less about suspending disbelief versus kind of balancing that act of, is some of it done intentionally, is some of it done just due to poor writing. So the stuff that came to mind for me was, there were times where he was walking around with his daughter saying things in a way that I say things to my 4-year-old, like, he's like, we should go down to this exit and get some fresh air. Or where was that donair stand? Let's just keep walking. He was really trying to coax her into doing stuff. And I'm like, dude, she's not 3. Like, she's asking questions of, like, why are you asking weird? Like, you're not fooling anyone. So I don't know if I chalk that up to that case of, like, him being kind of eccentric or just kind of poor writing, or I don't know. The stuff I will chalk up to poor writing, where I'll use this as an example of when he walks in on the SWAT team having a meeting, and the SWAT team is going into such insane detail of the victims of this killer. Like, they pull out a picture and they're like, this was Chuck. He had blue eyes, and this is his blood type, and he had a family, and he really liked his PlayStation, and he was born in Connecticut. It just was almost like, felt like a bit from a comedy that they were going to such detail. I'm like, a tactical team isn't doing that. They're going, here's your exits. This is his MO. This is what you need to watch out for. He's armed. Let's lock and load. Like, there was just moments where just the writing seemed a bit hokey.
Yeah, and and I mean, that's where the profiler comes in, right? The fact that the profiler is the one that's actually interested in all of those things.
But that wasn't even, like, in the example I gave, and I get what you're saying, that wasn't even the profiler. Like, that was someone literally being like, and this victim, he was one of the good guys. Like, he's a guy you root for. Like, you're not emotionally investing this SWAT team. Like, they are in the heat of the moment. They're impersonal tacticianers who are just there to do an objective. Like, you're not there to vindicate victims. But
yeah,
I don't know. Anywhere else you'd want to go with this?
I liked the touch of, when, because he locks his family upstairs in that bedroom.
Yeah.
But there's a flaw in that plan, because they're able to get out. There's a window right there. And so they easily get out. And I liked the line of dialogue he had where he said, I've never I've never had to look at this house through that lens.
Yeah.
And so to me, that was just a fun touch, right? And he emphasizes a couple of times, maybe beats it over the head a little bit, that it was two separate lives, and that they never, his work and his family, more or less, if that's what you want to call them, had never crossed before. And so to me, that was just, I don't know, that was, that was interesting.
Neat. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's maybe it for me, unless you have something else.
No, I think that's about it. I like I kind of talked about at the beginning. I think it's interesting that, like, say this and some of other M. Night Shyamalan's more recent movies, where this is like what I feel like 20 years ago, this could have been the twist where, like I said, the father is at this concert, and then 90% of the way through the movie, you realize he is the guy. And there's been a few recent M. Night Shyamalan movies where the guts of the premise are revealed in the trailer. And I, in some ways, I wonder, are you missing out on a whoa, holy crap moment by going in a different direction? But I admire it. It's not going for the just going for the complete twist 180 reaction. It's here it is all out on the table. Now let the storytelling be the shock, be the awe. And I guess, in this case, the twist was who set the trap and who was responsible for it. And the only thing I'll say before we rank it is I do feel like the ending, this is just a minor thing, but I would have liked it if the camera just went black after we saw the bicycle missing its spoke, versus then going him and actually seeing it come out and him laughing. That was just a little stylistic thing that I would have preferred, just going, that would have been enough of an oh crap moment, and then just cut black. That's just me.
Right. Well, and it's interesting, and it's worth noting, like, the question then becomes, is that the setup for a sequel?
Yeah.
And M. Night Shyamalan said, what?
I was just going to say, we might wonder for 20 years.
Well, M. Night Shyamalan said in an interview that he was sad when he wrapped with the film, because he really loved playing. He loved these characters, and he loved working on this film, and that, he doesn't know if he'd be able to turn down the opportunity to revisit this world. And so I don't know. And you know what? I'd be down for a sequel. It'd be a little more cat and mouse, I think, than this one was. Like it would probably feel a lot more like the last half hour of this film felt. But I think there's an interest. I think there's enough that you could still explore and unpack with Cooper. We get these little drops of, like, his mother. And stuff like that. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't know that Lady Raven, when she starts role playing as his mom, to like, right. It was interesting, but I'm like,
unexpected.
Really? Yeah, really. But anyways,
yeah. What? But do I go first? Yeah, I go first.
Yeah. How would you rank it? Yeah, it's backwards from the initial impressions.
I keep flipping back and forth. I think it was good. I'm unlike you. I'm interested if they ever made a sequel to see some of these characters. Absolutely. If it was more like the second half or the last third of the movie, I would be less interested. I really like the tension, the building of the stakes in the first 2/3 versus the Silence of the Lambs-esque last third. So I think I'll give it a 7. I was bouncing between a 6 and a 7. I'll go with a 7, just in the fact that I found it entertaining. really raised the stakes, had some good acting, had some good elements, and if nothing else, it was fun. So I don't regret watching it. So I gave it a 7. What would you give it?
I'm not far off. I give it a 7.5.
Nice.
I think it's a lot of fun. You know, even if it's not a great movie, and I'm not saying it's not, but even if it weren't a great movie, I had a great time. And that kind of feels like, you know, the lion's share of the whole point.
We're here to be entertained. We're here to have fun. We're here to
Yeah. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So 7.5. What you been watching though?
Will we do that segment for a new release?
I don't know. Have you watched anything?
I've watched one film. I'll say I've watched The Emperor's New Groove.
Like the animated, like, you know. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
You don't like it?
No, I'm not saying that. I just, did you, like, you didn't get your your fill when we reviewed it? Like,
it's been a while. I just felt like a rewatch. Watched it with the fam. Obviously the 2000 David Spade movie. It's adequate. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I forget what I gave it back in the day. It's okay. It's not in the gold or upper echelon of 90s, 2000s cartoon films. Has enough to make you laugh, but enough to go, okay, it's adequate. It has its space. But I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's still above average. What did you watch this week?
I rewatched Beetlejuice, the first one, in prep.
Of course. And why did you do that? I guess you already hinted at it at the beginning with the new release. Yeah. BJ.
Which I went and saw last night.
Okay.
And I can't give anything away because saving that for the review. What I will tell you though is there is a pretty steadfast rule in our house where I am not to purchase so our big movie theater chain here in Canada is Cineplex. Yes.
Yep.
And I am not to purchase any more, I should say, of the plastic novelty cups that they sell. Do you know the ones I mean?
Yes.
Right? You can get your drink, but then you can also, if you're there seeing The Hobbit, you can pay $4 more or whatever it is, and you get a cup with and usually there's a topper, right? There's like a little figure that sits on the top of the cup and blah, blah, blah. Well, I own maybe 25 of them from over the years. And it's everything from like Hunger Games to The Hobbit to Scream to, whatever. But then there's also to the Flash, but there's also a lot that are like just Coca-Cola. Like it would appear that there was a point in time where I just purchased them every time, no matter what. And so it's a bit of a steadfast rule, right? Don't buy them. And we went into the theater, and there was a novelty cup for Beetlejuice. And regardless of what I may or may not think of the new film, I love Beetlejuice, right? So going into it, whether I loved it, whether I hated it, whatever, I love the character, I love the first film. And so there was there was a plausibility, a very strong plausibility that I was going to want some sort of memorabilia from the film. But I was in agreement. I don't need any more of these cups. I used 2 of them, right? I cycle 2 of them. However, this cup is the design on the cup is the jacket, the tie, the striped black and white jacket with the tie and the undershirt and whatever, right? Like it's the Beetlejuice coat is the wrap on this cup. But it's also not just one of the regular cups. It is a 3D, like a textured, rubberized grip with a green plastic interior, but the outside is like this grip cup, rubber in the shape of the jacket, like just beautiful kind of thing, right? And Cineplex has never, to the best of my knowledge, has never released a cup like that before. Like normally it's just a plastic thing with the, and you're going to put it in the wash, and the design on it is going to start to peel over the years and whatever else. And this cup was just something next level, something they'd never done before. So I got one. Yeah. And it's pretty epic. It's epic enough that it may just end up on the shelf as a decorative piece because it's nice. Yeah.
All right.
But I was encouraged by Brienne, actually. This wasn't like a defiance of she looked at me and she said, if you're ever going to get one, this is the one to get. Like, they've never done something like this. This is incredible.
And if you're ever going to tell a story about one,
if you're ever going to tell a story about a cup,
yeah, for
then
10
this
minutes,
is the one to tell.
This is the one.
You bastard. Wrap it up.
Thank you so much for liking, follow, subscribing, giving us rating and reviews wherever you can. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We do truly enjoy it. And it is a lot of fun to get back in the new release saddle again. And what did you think of Trap? Did you enjoy it? Did you find it entertaining?
For a second,
boring?
I thought you were asking me, and I was like, dude.
I just told you.
What are we doing here?
But yeah, thank you for joining us for the ride. Check out our Patreon page, merchandise page. It's ways for you to support the show and ways for us to give you something back in return. And until next time, always remember that in every possible way, it's a trap.
I didn't know where you were going to go with that, but that was a choice.